Hello everyone, thanks for joining us this Saturday and welcome to this educational presentation of the price bar that tells you virtually everything you need to know. Now I'm going to share with you a technique that was taught to me on the floor some 41 years ago by my mentors, and it's grounded, I should say, in simplicity. Everything is just so simple, but you'll see how powerful this price bar can tell you in terms of the short-term trend. So this promises to be a great presentation today. Welcome. Thanks for taking time out of your Saturday morning to join me. My name is Steven Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. And if you're new to my presentations, you'll find out that we're all about educating you. In fact, that's our philosophy. Our only goal is simply to educate you as a trader, because we feel that's really what's missing in most traders' lives. I mean, think about it. The entire industry is based off of telling you how to trade. In other words, telling you what the best indicators are, what the best news is, how to listen to what's going on in the financial world. And everyone has a different system. Everyone has a different plan or method in which to get you there. Unfortunately, the statistics say that 80 to 85% of all traders fail. Now, when we say fail, we don't mean that you'll go into a slump or a drawdown. It literally means that you'll lose all of the money you've put aside for trading. So if you look at things that way, then obviously there's something wrong with that basis for teaching and educating you. Now, I've been trading for 41 years. I started my career out on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for a total of 16 years. 9 of those years I was a specialist. That's where we get the name specialist trading. A specialist doesn't mean you were any more special than anyone else. It didn't mean that you were more educated or you had advanced information. A specialist was basically just someone who specialized in making markets. It was another name for a market maker. So we made markets in roughly 50 to 60 stocks. So if you wanted to buy or sell, let's say, a particular issue, and I made markets in IBM and Waste Management and US Air. Those were 3 of the stocks I made markets in. If you wanted to buy or sell those, you would call your stockbroker. The stockbroker in turn would contact the floor broker, and the floor broker would come up to me at my post and say, I want to buy 100 shares of IBM or sell 100 shares of Waste Management. I made a market in that. So I was a market maker, a specialist during the crash of 1987 and the bull market that followed. I've traded straight up markets, straight down markets. I've traded sideways markets. I've traded just about every system, every technique, and every method you can think of. So in my over 4 decades of experience, I know what works in terms of consistency, and I know what doesn't work at all. So that's what we do at Specialist Trading. I teamed up with Pro Trader Strategies around 9 years ago, and all we do is educate our students around the world in over 115 countries and in virtually every state in the United States, all the things that I've accumulated that have high levels of consistency. So that's where we get the philosophy of being an educator. We're not here to promote a $10,000 course that you have to attend. We're not here to promote the perfect indicator. We're not here to promote the perfect system. We don't believe in that. What we believe is in giving you and providing you with sound fundamental education that has stood the test of time. And then ultimately, we want to educate you so that you can make your own decisions. You see, most traders go to a chat room or they listen to a trading guru on TV or on a webinar, or they will, let's say, purchase some $10,000 course or some system that tells them what to do. That couldn't be any further from the truth in terms of trading. That's why most traders fail. You have to be in charge of your own trading. It would be similar to an airline pilot saying, okay, I've studied, I've done all the homework and all the research and everything. Now, can you tell me how to fly this now that once you're in the air? That would be silly, but that's the way most traders trade. You know, you'll have all your hard-earned money, you'll take the courses, but then you'll say, okay, can you tell me what to do? What should I buy or sell today? That's why most traders fail. What we do is provide you with the information so that ultimately you'll be in charge of your own trading decisions. So that's our little philosophy here and what we do and what we provide. You're going to see today how much attention and detail I give to actually educating you with this great technique that I'm going to be sharing with you and revealing today with the #1 chart pattern that tells you everything you virtually need to know. But before we begin, as always, we're required by law to first show you this, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using this method, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And as always, please remember that all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. So as you're taking a brief moment to view our required disclaimer, I would also like to take this time to invite each and every one of you to follow us on Twitter. And you'll see there our handle is at SPCLSTTRADG. If you have trouble remembering that or writing it down, all you have to do is go to our website, or at the end of the presentation today, I'll give you that information again. All right, now as I stated, our goal is to provide you with an education. As you see here, my goal is not to trade for you the way so many websites do. My goal is not to tell you on a nightly basis what you should be buying or selling. My goal is to provide you with the information so that you can make that decision yourself. This was the same edge I was taught some 41 years ago, the specialist edge that has sustained me for 4 decades. Hopefully, it will be able to do the same for you. Now, since this is an educational class, I want to take all the questions. We have a fairly large crowd here today. Thanks for all showing up today. I appreciate it. But if we stop for every slide the way some other presentations do, we're going to be here for about 3 or 4 hours. I don't want to take all of your Saturday afternoon. So please, if you have a question, please wait till the very end of today's class. I promise I'll reserve the last 5 or 10 minutes for any questions you may have. Now, also, I will answer just one question right now. That's the most common, popular one, and that is this being recorded? Yes, it is. We record all of our presentations, so if you have to leave early, or even if you're having technical difficulties, many times if you log off and then log back on again, your problem will be resolved because it's your internet connection that's causing the issues. But don't worry, if for some reason you can't get the full course today, don't worry, we will send you with a recording, a link to this recording today, okay? So if you happen to join us late, once again, please wait till the end of today's class to ask any questions. All right, with that said, let's begin with what my mentors taught me. When I was struggling my first year, they said, Steve, the market is always telling you what it wants to do. And I thought about that and I said, well, how can the market, sure, I mean, I'm always listening to, fundamental news. I'm always listening to, interest rates. I'm always looking at the earnings. I'm always subscribing to these newsletters. I know the market's always telling me what to do. That's where I get my information. But my mentor said, Steve, your only job as a trader is to listen to the market and then jump on board. You see, we make trading much more difficult than it has to be. And that's one of the reasons why most traders fail, because they overcomplicate their trading process. Too many indicators, too many outside sources telling them what to do. But as my mentors taught me, the market is always telling me everything. All I have to do is figure out what it wants to do and then jump on board, add a little structure, and then go in the direction of where it wants to go. That's our only job as a trader. Our job is not to decipher the earnings. Our job is not to follow the institutions. Our job is not to go to a chat room and listen to everybody and get their ideas. That's not our job as a trader. Our job as a trader is to focus only on the chart in front of us, because that's the source. That's what we're trading. So that's what we need to focus on and block out all the other, what my mentors called useless noise. In fact, when I was first trading, the useless noise I used to listen to were earnings reports. I mean, after all, I was making markets in about 60 stocks. Didn't I have to know the earnings? But ultimately, I stopped looking at earnings some 40 years ago, and I just could care less about that stuff. It doesn't give me the answers. But most traders will follow what the earnings are in order to make a trading decision. Some of this other noise is institutional traders. There are courses devoted to what the institutions are doing. After all, the institutions are the big money, right? The big brokerage houses, they have all the funds and they can move the markets, right? That's what I thought. But ultimately, when I stopped listening and caring about the institutions, that's when my trading started to become more consistent. So I stopped listening to that years ago. Or too many indicators. If you had looked at my trading screen some 41 years ago, you would have seen, it would have looked like a roadmap to some city on another planet. There were so many lines and crosses and divergences. It was just silly. But everything had to line up in order for me to take a signal. So I was just overcomplicating my trade with too many technical indicators. And then lastly, I was listening to all the so-called trading gurus. After all, these guys were supposed to know what they're doing, right? Now, 41 years ago, we didn't have the internet and chat rooms and blogs, but we did have newsletters. And so I subscribed to all of them. I listened to all their ideas, and I tried to make sense of what they were saying and follow them. Do you see how this is the way most traders, even though I did this 41 years ago, this is the way most traders make their decisions today. They're listening to earnings, institutional traders, the indicators, trading gurus, and that's how they come up with an idea to buy or sell something. This is what my mentors called useless noise, because these things are not consistent. Some of them may work every once in a while, but just like the slot machines in Las Vegas, they're designed to have you coming back for more and spending your money, but over time, you're not going to really make any money. Trust me, it didn't work for me 41 years ago when I was using these same things that you're probably using today. So there's no consistency in them working today. So if we're not going to focus on these things, what should we focus on? We focus on the chart in front of us. That's the source. Once again, that's where all the information comes from. But we've never been taught to do that. We're always taught to look at the earnings, the institutions, the indicators, the gurus. That's where the answers will come from. But it's the opposite. The chart in front of you tells you everything you need to know. And I'm going to share with you just one of those simple things today. You're going to see, you're going to be surprised how simple this is, but how powerful once I show you in its clarity. This is called the top-bottom 25%. I've given webinars about this before, and some of the students that have gone on to become students of mine are just amazed at how powerful this top-bottom percent price bar is. So what exactly is it? Well, these are bars that close either in the top or bottom quarter of their range. Now, most students have trouble with this concept because they understand range as being open to close. That's not range. I don't know how that got convoluted into meaning the range of a bar is the open to close. The range of a bar is from the extreme high to the extreme low. That's not the open or close. It could be the top of the wick, the bottom of the wick, the top of the price bar, the bottom of the price bar, but whatever kind of price bar you're looking at, that's what the range is. So if we look at this generic bar chart here, it makes no difference if this were a tick chart, a 5-minute chart, or a monthly bar chart. What you want to do is divide it by 4 separate equal parts, taken from the top of the range, right here, the top of the wick to the bottom, divide it by 4 equal parts, and if we close in that top quarter, that top 25%, what is the market telling us on a short-term basis? It's telling us that it wants to go higher. That's how simple this is. Okay? Now, conversely, if we get a bar like this, you take the top to the bottom of the range, all right? And that's the extreme low to extreme high, divide by 4 separate but equal parts. And if we close lower and in the bottom 25%, what is the market telling us? Not some guy in a chat room, not some institution. What's the market telling us? It's telling us it wants to go lower. So this is how we learn to listen to the source. This is one piece of the puzzle, extremely easy but extremely powerful. Let me show you some examples of this so you'll just see how well this can work. And you can start experimenting with this today as soon as we conclude. In fact, I'm sure a lot of you are probably looking at charts right now and you're going to see how well this worked, okay? So let's look at this chart here. Here's a weekly chart of the spiders coming into this last month, August, all right? Now, someone looking in hindsight would say, oh, well, Steve, this is easy to see that we've been in an uptrend. I really don't need this price bar to tell me. Well, sure, but what if there were a confluence of a number of these price bars that were closing in the top 25%? Couldn't they have given you an advanced warning that we were going to be continuing to go up? Well, all you have to do is check out all the up green arrows, and each and every one of these arrows represents a bar that closed in the top quarter of its range. Do you see how the market now is making it a lot easier to see that it wants to go higher? Okay? Look at the abundance of bars that closed in the top 25% of their range. Now this can work to the downside as well. Here is a weekly chart of GE. Once again, everyone in the world knows that this stock has continued to go lower and lower. And people say, well, it's not hard to see this has been going lower. Well, sure. But what if you were an investor and had held on to this position? Would you want to know if it was going to go lower? Well, it would have been easy if you identified all of the bars that closed in the bottom 25% of their range. Each one of these red arrows is displaying a bar that closed in the bottom 25%. And look at the abundance of bars that closed lower. The market is telling you it wants to go lower. So this is just once again, piece of the puzzle of how you can listen to the market. It's extremely easy, but extremely powerful. So I want to show you how simple it is to apply on our new platform. This is the PTS Primo Charting Platform. I devised this, and I came up with it with Pro Trader Strategies. We developed it. It took years to put together. We're still working on it to make things simpler for you, but the whole entire philosophy of this platform is to teach you how to listen to the market by making it extremely simple, because everything is already pre-formatted. It's one click away. Now, if you looked at these last charts, let me just backtrack here. And if you looked at these last charts, sure, you could have done this yourself. You could have found out the bars, but do you know how tedious this would be to find out what all the bars were that closed in the top 25%? Now, this is a weekly bar. What if you were looking at, what if you're a day trader? What if you're looking at 5-minute bars? Do you know how tedious that would be to try and find all the bars that close in the top 25%? Or if you're an intraday trader and you're looking at all the intraday bars that closed on the bottom, wouldn't that be difficult to find? Well, that's why we made it simple with our platform. Everything is one click away. All of our strategies, all of our tools, all of our methods, all of our different highlighted techniques to increase your odds for consistency. And that's why we made it so simple, and we're really proud of this, because Pro Trader Strategies and myself developed this to make trading easy so that you would learn how to listen to the market and then ultimately be able to be on your own, to not have to rely on going to a chat room, not have to rely on waiting with bated breath for every earnings report, not have to rely on going to a chat room. It's right there. You can make your own trading decisions for you. So let me share with you a trading technique where you can apply this top bottom 25% using our platform. This is just a technique, though. Let me just first state that a technique is not a strategy, because a strategy is a full-fledged plan. Okay, it comes with entry point, stop placement, ways to protect your investment, money management, and exit levels. Okay, that's a full-fledged strategy, and we have lots of those. But a technique is simply a high probability place for entry. All right, and how you decide to put the other pieces of the puzzle is up to you. So I don't want you to think this is a full-fledged trading method that's been researched and back-tested. No, we don't believe in that. Remember, because everyone's supposed to trade differently. You're supposed to make your own trading decisions. So why would I back-test something based on the way I trade? I want you to trade what makes you feel comfortable, not what makes me feel comfortable. That's why we don't have chat rooms at Pro Trader Strategies and Specialist Trading, because we want you to decide how to trade. We give you different variables, different exit points, different stop placements, different entry points. So that's why this is a technique, and then you can add all the other pieces of the puzzle to meet your needs. All right, so here's the setup now for buys. And remember, once again, you can do this on your own, but it's so simple and so powerful with our new platform. All right, if you have an up arrow where we close in the top 25%, you want to buy one tick above that up arrow. All right, so if it closed and the high of that range is 50, well, then you want to buy 50.01. All right, this is going to hopefully ensure you that you're going to confirm going higher. Now, once you enter into the trade, you're going to place your stop below bars with up arrows. So as the trade continues to unfold, if you get more up arrows, hopefully it's going in your direction, you'll just move your stop just below that up level. And remember, this is up to you. Some of our traders like to trade with this method. They'll place their stop 1 or 2 ticks below. Some of them will place them a half point below. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's entirely up to you. You're in charge. This is just a technique. You can decide how you want to enter, how you want to exit. But let me show you how simple it is with our platform and how easy it is to implement. All right, now sells are going to be the exact opposite. All right, if you get a down arrow showing you that the bar displayed closed in the bottom 25%, well, you want to sell once price trades below that. It can be 1 tick below, 2 ticks, 10 ticks. It's up to you. And once you enter the trade, let's say you're short, place your stop above bars with down arrows. Okay, so you can place your stop a point above, a half point, a tick. It's entirely up to you. And remember, these examples are mainly based off stocks, but you can apply this technique to futures, currency pairs. We have a lot of students who like to use this with currency pairs because they trend so well. And once they go in one direction, they continue to go. You can trade this with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin was taken off to the upside last year, this technique worked amazingly well. Okay, and you can use it with commodities even if you like. But remember, let me just say it again. This is not a full-fledged strategy. I know as we get to the end of today's class, the question is going to be, well, Steve, what are the results of the back testing of this for a couple of years? Remember, this is not a system. Systems are the only things that can be back tested and researched. Why? Because they require everyone, regardless if you've been trading 2 weeks or 20 years, to trade the exact same way. Everyone enters, exits, places their stop the exact same place. That way you can research it. Well, that goes fundamentally against everything we teach. We don't believe in systems. We believe in strategies that are rule-based, but give you about 25% room for discretion. That way, if you decide, well, I want smaller risk, you can use a stop placement with less risk. If you want to stay in the trade longer, you can use a different exit. You see, this is the way someone becomes consistent, by becoming a part of the process, not by trading the system and basically taking yourself out of the game. All right, so let's look at this now. Let's look at this chart in fossil for solar. Once again, in hindsight, someone would say, well, this is Steve, this is easy. I'm sure, we knew we were going up. But how could we have entered the trade, let's say, somewhere around here after we, paused here? Well, let's add the top bottom 25%. Let me show you how simple it is on our platform. What you do is you would go to the upper strategy tab where we have all our methods and strategies, click on top bottom 25%. Drop down menu appears, and all you have to click on is signal arrows. That's what you want to see. And in less than a second, they all appear. Okay? So let's say at this point you were interested in maybe buying this. You see that there's a couple of arrows here. Okay, so let me get out my trading tools here, and I'll get out my my pen so I can draw a line here. All right, so this is the first one. Let's say you wanted to buy above here, okay? Well, we're watching it and nothing happened on this bar. In fact, it goes lower, so we're not in the trade yet. But then we get another bar with an up arrow. So we're going to buy 1 or 2 ticks above, and this is where we entered, right here. So we bought right there on, let me draw a little arrow, and that's actually on the down bar, this bar right here. But that's where we bought, basically, okay? And we placed our stop, let's say about a half point below. Okay, so we entered here, our stop was here, and you will know actually prior to entry, if you use this technique, where you'd enter and where you'd place your stop, so you know how much you're willing to risk. All right, so this risk is not that much, so you decide to stay in, and look what happens. 2 days later, it really shoots. Now, you can decide to exit on your own. Let's say you said, boy, this is a nice 2-day trade, I'm going to get out the market. Or you could use the technique where you move your stop from this point up a half point below or so here, all right? Now, you're basically going to break even because you entered here and your stop's about the same place, and you're just letting it ride. And as it goes higher, we have another up arrow so that you move your arrow right there, or your stop right there. Then another one, you move your stop right here, and you continue to track this all the way up until you decide on your own, well, I want to get out, or you're ultimately stopped out, which may have been right here. It's up to you. But look at that nice profit you gained. And let me ask you a question. When we did this, did we have any concern for the earnings on this stock? Absolutely not. We didn't even listen or look at what the earnings were. When this was happening, did we go to a chat room to tell us to go long this? Absolutely not. We just looked at the arrow, okay? When we were doing this, were we looking at support and resistance from the institutions and, from that $10,000 class we took that told us what the institutional money was going to do? No. We didn't have to waste our money on that, okay? All right, did we have a ton of indicators filling up the screen? All the lines had to cross. Were we looking at a higher time frame to decide what to do on the lower time frame? Did we have a bunch of moving averages plotted? No. Do you see how simple this is? And why is that? Because we're listening to the market. The market tells you just about everything you need to know. The reason why we fail as traders is because we're not listening to it. We're listening to this, what my mentors called noise, and there's no consistency in that. Now, you can start doing this on your own. You don't need some graphics to share this for you, but it's so simple on our platform because it's right there. It's one click away, and it automatically does it for you. All right, let me just erase this. Let's go on to the next one. And let me get back to my normal drawing tool. Oops. As you can see here, I don't use this very often. There we go. All right, here's a downward move and when. Once again, obviously in hindsight, easy to see. How could we have taken advantage of this downward move though? Well, a simple technique is to follow the top bottom 25% right here in the upper green strategy tab. Click on that tab, click on signal arrows, and just like magic, they all appear. And we could tell that we were really in a downward move. Now, let's say from the very beginning, we wanted to go short. Well, let me show you how this technique works in terms of consistency, because you're not always going to have a profit. Let's say you went short right here on the first red arrow. You place your stop up here, half point above. You move your stop and continue to move your stop lower, continue to move your stop lower, and then ultimately you got stopped out right here. Okay, so you pretty much broke even. That's okay. But this is what happens to most traders. They'll say, well, I lost a little bit. This thing doesn't work. Well, Steve, I don't want to do this again. Consistency means a 2-step forward, 1-step back approach, meaning that if you have a technique that is consistent, oftentimes it'll be able to recoup your losses and get you back on track. Now here you most likely would have had a small loss, but if you went back in diligently, you would have gotten in again and placed your stop above these arrows and, well, this time been stopped out and made a little bit more money. Not a lot, but a little more. But remember, we want to keep going in. So we go short again on the next bar and we move our stops all the way down here above, and now we have a nice profit right here, okay? So you see, it all adds up. It's all about consistency. Not every one of these setups using this technique is going to be a winner, but it's extremely consistent once you get a really nice trend going. So that's what we're trying to share with you, that we're not going to sit here and tell you, oh, this is a back-tested thing that's worked 99.9% of the time. It never fails, and we're going to just give you a system that never loses any money. We don't believe in that. Okay, we're just trying to educate you as traders. Now, a lot of people say, well, Steve, what happens when the trend changes? Well, we were going up, and then look what happened. Well, the beauty of that is that the market tells you. It doesn't pick a top or a bottom, but it tells you. You could have purchased down here above this arrow, used all the up arrows, tracked it all the way up, and been exiting right here for this nice profit from here to here. Now, once things started to change, sure, you're getting whipsawed, you're making less of a profit, and once you see we have two green arrows here, but we never traded above. So you never would have entered on these downward green arrows. Once we started to getting red arrows, you could have sold any of these and got back in the profit potential. How about WMT? Okay, this has been in the news lately. A lot of people say, boy, this thing took me by surprise. I had no idea the stock was going to jump up. Well, actually, if you listen to the market, it was telling you it wanted to go higher. Why? Because look at all these bars that close in the top 25%. This is all done without looking at what's going on with the company, with Walmart, the financial news, the earnings. We don't care about that. And someone would say, well, Steve, don't you have to care about that? No, because the market was telling us in advance with this abundance of up green arrows that it wants to go higher. Now, you could have picked any one of these to buy. Let's say we had chosen just a week or so ago. Okay, let's say you had learned this technique and you said, oh boy, I want to buy once we trade one tick above here. I'm interested in this stock. And it never trades. You get another bar here. So, all right, now you got in. You bought right here. You've placed your stop right here. Okay. Goes up a little, nothing much has happened. We have another green arrow, so you move your stop up here. So even if you get stopped out, that means you would have bought here and you'll be stopped out there. That's okay. You're not losing a lot. It's minimal risk, but then look what eventually happened. If we hold on for my next bar here, it would have all fallen into place. And someone would say, well, Steve, I had no idea it was going to jump up like that off the news. Well, actually, if you had learned to listen to the market, you would have known that it wanted to go higher. Now, these techniques are not telling you how high or if there's going to be a news announcement or if it's going to get bought out. No, it's just telling you that the short-term trend is up. So why would you want to sell, or why would you stay on the sidelines when you could use this technique? Now look at Apple. All right, Apple is, let me erase those old drawings there. Apple has just continued to go up. This is the monthly chart. So a lot of you are investors. I don't want you to think you can't apply this if you invest. Oh, sure, you could apply this easily. Nothing changes because we change time frames or because we change markets. A lot of people say, boy, I can't believe Apple continues to go up. Well, why not? Look at the abundance of up green bars, okay? Even when this market was selling off in these pullbacks, you had up green bars. So now we continue to go, and so far this month, there is an up green bar because so far we're closing at the top 25%. So do you think the market in Apple is telling you it most likely wants to go higher? Let's review before we go into question and answer, okay? Remember, as my mentors taught me, the market is always telling you what it wants to do. Why? Because it's the source. That's what we're trading. In other words, why listen to an outside source that has nothing to do with it tell you what your decision process should be? Shouldn't your decision come from the chart in front of you? Why not listen to the market? And once you learn how to listen to the market, your only job as a trader is to jump on board in what it wants to do. So if you're listening to the market and it said it wants to go up, you're a buyer. If you're listening to the market and it said it wants to go down, you're a seller. That's how simple trading can be. There's no reason to make your decision off news. There's no reason to make your decision off institutions. There's no reason to make your decision off too many indicators or make your decision off so-called gurus, okay? Not even myself. I don't give recommendations because it's like that goes against my philosophy. You have to trade according to your own needs. I trade according to mine. Now that's what trading should be. It should be extremely simple and based off what the market's doing. Unfortunately, we've all been trained. The entire industry is based upon the opposite. It's like, well, the answers must come from some guru, or the answers on how to become rich or consistent or successful must come from some chat room or some institution. Once again, as I always say, trust me, I was taught those same things 41 years ago. They didn't work then. So what makes you think they're going to work now? The only thing that has sustained me is what my mentors taught me, and that's listening to the market in front of you. Remember, the top bottom 25% bars are not a system, they're not a strategy, they're simply a powerful way to determine what the market wants to do on a short-term basis. We gave you a technique in which to trade it, but remember, it's not a technique, not a system. I should say it's not a system, it's not a strategy, it's simply a technique. One piece of the puzzle. Now ask yourself, before we go into the question and answer portion, do you think this strategy or method could have helped your trading this past year? Do you think this technique, I should say, could have helped your trading? We have a special offer for you for all today. Thanks for taking time out of your Saturday morning to join us. We're going to offer you our PTS Primo Charting Platform, what I've designed with Pro Trader Strategies, a 30-day trial, only $7. You're going to get this for 30 days, and you're going to see how powerful it is and how you'll be able to apply this, including the technique I just shared with you today, including all the access to the top bottom 25% bars in a number of markets and different time frames. So let me show you what's included here. All right. You're also going to get our enhanced buy-sell line. I've spoken about this in other webinars before on Saturdays. That's our tool for determining the overall trend. What we talked about today was the short-term trend. But when you couple that with the top-bottom 25%, boy, you really have a powerful way to determine what direction the market wants to go. One of the best things about this $7 offer is our signal scanner. All right. Let's say you're not able to be in front of your computer all day. All right, but you love using the top bottom 25% bars. You want to see what they are, and plus, you can't be looking through the entire S&P 500 on a nightly basis, or the NASDAQ 100, or all of the commodities, or all the futures. So here's what we've provided. We developed a great scanner for you. All right, all you'd have to do is click on, once again, that top bottom 25% tab there, and you'll get a drop-down menu, and it says scanner. So once you do that, the scanner will appear. You'll just hit load symbols, and we provide you with a symbol list of different stocks, futures, currency pairs, Bitcoin, whatever you're interested in. You can even create your own watch list if you like. And in a matter of seconds, it appears like this. Then all you have to do is simply hit scan, because it's already pre-formatted to scan for the top bottom 25% for the next day. Now, I did this scan this morning, okay? As you can see here, we have nothing in the Dow 30 but setups for tomorrow for up green bars. In other words, these are all the stocks that close in the top 25% of their range in the Dow 30. So if we take the first one, here's the top 25% signal. That's in Apple. Now, if we had stocks that closed in the bottom 25%, you'd see these same type of bars, but they'd be colored red. But going for tomorrow in the Dow 30, we have nothing but up bars. So they may be telling you about something what the market on a whole wants to do. Now, if we look at Apple right here, here's a daily chart of Apple. Here's where it closed yesterday, and we have the up bars. Here's the funny thing. Apple has been telling us for a while that it wants to go higher, all right? You think this technique I shared with you today could have helped you trade Apple? What if you had purchased it right here, okay? You buy 1 or 2 ticks above, place your stop, just continue to ride it up, and you would have been stopped out, so you had a nice profit there. You wait for the next setup, and you buy it, okay? And according to that, you would still be in the trade because you'd move your stop just below, so you'd have a locked-in profit here. So this is how simple it is. We provide you with this. You can scan it on a nightly basis. We're also going to throw in Bloomberg TV. Remember, our philosophy, our credo is that we shouldn't be telling you how to trade. We only teach you things that have high levels of consistency. So even though fundamental news is not required in any way, well, if you feel you must use it, that's fine. We're not here to tell you what's right or what's wrong. We're only here to provide you with education. So if you like to listen to news, if you feel you must know all the economic reports, indicators, or financial indicators, or earnings reports, well, click on our media page and you'll get live Bloomberg TV as it's happening for all the financial reports, all the earnings, and all the economic reports as they're happening live. And then lastly, this comes with personalized tech support, okay? If for any reason something happens, you can't load a page, you don't understand it, we have a lot of tutorials that you can watch videos as well as personalized tech support as well to help resolve any of your issues. This is a great, great offer. 30 days you can experiment with all of it for only $7. Now trust me, if you're going out just to buy a cup of coffee this morning, I'm sure you're going to spend close to or even more than $7. Now if you're buying it for two, well, this is a better value because that coffee will last you about 10 minutes. This will last you 30 days. So here's how to take advantage of this great offer. Once again, I designed the platform with Pro Trader Strategies. They handle all of the marketing and all of the discounts. You can contact them directly by calling area code 310-598-6677. Or, in my opinion, the best thing is just to sign up right away. You can go to that link at the very bottom. Now, it's not a live link, but we have a live link in the chat box. If you look in the GoToWebinar column on the far right, there's a little portion there that says chat. There's a live link that has been posted there. Click that on, and it will automatically take you to this $7 sign-up page. If you have any difficulty, or if you don't want to do something online, you'd rather speak to someone, I would suggest calling Pro Trader Strategies. But you must do this quickly because this offer is only going to last for a short time. It's a limited time only for $7. You can't imagine getting a deal like that. Now, a lot of people say, well, won't you be doing the same thing next week? Well, no, because last week I remember I gave a webinar, and our offer was close to $500 for a strategy. So we have different offers all the time. So you don't want to miss this. If you're really serious about getting our platform and experimenting with this top, bottom 25% and the other features and the scanner, now is the time to take advantage. And trust me, $7, I mean, if you can't afford $7, you should not be trading, okay? Trust me, you should have a lot more than that in your account. So I'm going to leave this information up here as I open up the question and answer box. And I thank you for taking your time and not writing questions yet, but I'll answer them right now. Let's see. What are the 90 indicators on the platform? Well, they are 90 of the most popular indicators. Anything from moving averages, from oscillators, to just the standard indicators that you use. I can't go down the entire list, but just think of all the oscillators. Just think of all the different China trend filters. Think of all the moving averages, all the overbought, oversold tools. Those are all there. So if you'd like to experiment, we have all of those ready and accessible, okay? Maria asked, how short is the short term that works with this technique? Well, it depends on your trading style. You know, I have used this technique with tick charts, with 500 tick charts. So, you know, it doesn't go a lot lower than that. Now, remember, the smaller the bar you go to, you're going to have more, you know, room for whipsaws and back and forth. So you have to be careful. That's why with every technique, every strategy, we always tell our students to always paper trade first. And I'm going to tell you that as well. You have this technique now. I would advise that you strongly paper trade. That way you can really fully understand the process. So don't just jump in trading with money on Monday. Start paper trading for a day or two, for a week, for a month. It makes no difference because it'll always be there, okay? Now, someone's asking, does PTS work on Mac? Remember, PTS is a separate platform. So it does work on Mac, but I believe there are a couple of things and alterations that you need to make. I would contact Pro Trader Strategies since they handle all of that side of the company business. They handle all of the tech support as well as the pricing. And I know it can work on Mac. There may be a few edits you have to make, but contact Pro Trader Strategies. There's absolutely no obligation. You'll be able to find out as well just by calling them as well, okay? David's asking, what is the price after the trial? I believe the price goes up to $97 per month. So that's still a very inexpensive price because, you know, I've used other platforms before and we're talking about anywhere from $200 to $500 per month. So you still get 41 years of accumulated information for only less than $100. It's really, really great stuff. So, but try it out for 30 days. There's no obligation, and you can decide for yourself, okay? Let's see. KJ's asking why we have or only discuss the price pass bar. It is past tense in terms of reality. Well, first of all, let me answer that before we go on to your next phrase. No, it's full tense because it's happening right now. In other words, when the price bar closes at that moment, it closes in the top bottom of 25%. So that's not past. That's what's happening right now. In other words, it would be past if you looked back 3 or 4 or 10 days. But right now, while you're looking at this real time, once a bar closes, let's say it's a 5-minute bar, once that bar closes, if it closes in the top 25%, that is the now. So you have a decision to buy above there. So that's not a past, it's not something like a slow indicator that's based off past. So right off the bat, that's an incorrect statement. How can you catch up the price bar with present tense? Well, once again, it is the present tense. It's closing right there at that second. So that happens. That's what the market's telling you what it wants to do now. Okay? So I think what you're being confused is that you think that, well, it closed there and then we go about 10 bars further in the future. But no, your decision is made at that point when it closes in the top 25%. And trust me, if you don't feel that there's validity to this, well, great. Guess what? It didn't cost you any money and you can go experiment on your own. Go and look at your own charts. And if you see an abundance of bars that close in the top 25%, you're going to see a lot more as the price goes higher. And you'll find out for yourself and you say, wow, okay, this really is kind of having some validity to it and it's working pretty well, okay? So there's a lot of people asking about iPad and about on Mac. Yes, it will work on that, but you have to contact Pro Trader Strategies. They can answer that better than myself. I'm involved in the teaching and education of the courses and the trading. They're involved in the tech support as well as the application on your computer and pricing. So give them a call or email. Please, there's no obligation. And remember, this is not something for $1,000 that you have to make a big decision on. This is a $7 offer. The only caveat is that it won't last long. It's for a limited time only. So take advantage of it while it lasts, okay? $7, I can almost honestly say that most of you probably spent more than $7 on commission costs alone. If you're going out to lunch today, you're most likely spend way more than $7. Well, those things are only going to last for a short amount of time. $7 for 30 days, okay? In conclusion, I hope you got something out of this technique today. I hope you see the power of this bar telling you at the moment what the market wants to do as it's happening right now. All right, my mentors taught me that the reason why I was failing some 41 years ago is because I was listening to what they called useless noise. I was listening to earnings reports. I was listening to indicators, too many indicators. I was listening to not chat rooms, but newsletters, all these things that didn't work then, and trust me, they don't work now. So why waste your money, your hard-earned money that you put aside for trading? Why waste your time when trading is really simple once you know what to listen to, okay? That's the chart in front of you. So that's the message for today, the theme for today. As you take one last look at our disclaimer, I want to thank you for joining us and taking time out of your Saturday morning. I wish you the best of luck, and I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine, and most especially members of the Pro Trader Strategies Primo Charting Platform, okay? Thank you so much. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.